Simon Baker. I'm a Cloud Business Development Manager. I'm in an organisation in IBM that's called Ecosystem Development.
Okay, so what are the big development challenges facing app developers and mobile developers in particular?
I think being able to get access to the right kinds of applications and services that enable them to do their job really rapidly, really quickly, so they can get to market quickly with a minimal viable product. So being able to provide an environment whereby they can get access to the right services, the APIs into those services, the data they want access to, and the APIs into that data is really important. And being able to facilitate it in such a way that they don't have to focus on the infrastructure and the supporting middleware and the supporting systems. They just focus on the code and the data. And that's something we can provide in a platform as a service offering we have, which is called Bluemix.
So are these problems the same problems faced by smaller developers and bigger developers, or do they have different challenges that they're facing?
I think what's interesting in the market is developers are becoming increasingly important decision makers and influencers in everything from the lines of business in enterprise right the way through to the one-man development shops, writing applications, supporting small businesses, and it's everything in between. So it's a broad spectrum of developers that are out there, and I think the problems are the same. They're looking for that environment whereby they can rapidly develop applications, whether it's for a line of business manager or for themselves trying to support a bespoke small business.
Yeah. And so what's your advice for a developer trying to get to that minimum viable product point from this technical perspective?
I quite like the simple phrase which it all starts with a line of code, and it's being able to enable that line of code and actually provide a way by they can do that really rapidly. So having the right run times available for that line of code that they're familiar with, they want to write in, being able to provide environments whereby they can actually continue to write that code, test it, iterate around, rapidly develop that piece of code from that one line. And then being able to provide environments whereby they can store the data, knowing that data is stored robustly and resiliently, being able to add on other services they actually might find they want to use as they're developing that application, and just be able to pull in those services very quickly with a single sign-on, quickly available in a matter of seconds. They can continue and iterate around that product as they develop it.
And are there any technical trends that you think in the next 3 to 6 months that developers should be keeping their eyes on, perhaps?
Wow, that's a very big question. I think Internet of Things, it's a bit of an obvious answer to some degree, but I think what's evolving in that space in terms of some of the large chip manufacturers, silicon designers, in terms of some of the technology they're coming up with, they're now open source technology in that space, and it's the coming together of that open source machine world, if you like, coming together with the digital world in the form of software services and the open standards and open source around software. So open source machine, open source software coming together through the Internet of Things and being able to facilitate that.
Okay, well, fantastic, and thank you very much for joining us.
Fantastic, thank you very much.